Welcome back to Holistic Revolution. We've been on a bit of a hiatus for the past couple weeks. Some of you know my home was broken into and they took my laptop. So I'm just kind of getting back on my feet, but I wanted to thank all of the WXNA DJ and management and partner team for helping me with that, because you are listening right now on something recorded on my new laptop that I was able to purchase because of them. So thank you guys so much. Really grateful that no one got hurt and that we are back on the air and going to give you some more awesome programming for 2017. And I've been thinking about this episode for a while. Heather Lose, actually, the president of WXNA, suggested it a couple months ago, or maybe about a month and a half ago, that I maybe do a show on self-care, because, you know, we were all going through some big stuff in November and changes and lots of fears and anxieties were coming up, and just for time reasons, I never did that show, but I think it's a really appropriate time right now to do it. And like I've said before, the things that I have on this show are things that I'm learning about myself and wanting to share with you. So, you know, I've been going through some changes as well, and I'd like to just kind of talk about those. And I'm lucky to have on the show today as my guest in this dialogue on self-care, someone who I interviewed, I guess it's been a couple months now, Michelle Chalfant. I interviewed her on her Adult Chair podcast. And today we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions, sort of debunking that and the idea of that, but at the same time, talking about how we can take on this new year and this new time to become more in tune with our authentic selves. So Michelle, thank you again for being back on the show. And we're just going to talk about, first of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and I'm delighted to be here with you.
Yeah, recording this on New Year's Day, so they won't air till next Friday, but I think it's a really auspicious start to the new year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2017.
Yeah, so let's get this out of the way. What are your thoughts on things that you want to bring into the new year?
Oh boy, you're jumping right in.
I am jumping right in. What's New Year's Day?
I've actually done a lot of thinking about this, and we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but instead of getting rid of, things from 2016, I've been thinking a lot about what do I want to incorporate into my life? Like, what aspects do I want to bring in to myself or for myself? Mm-hmm. So I've been contemplating just sitting quietly and coming up with different words, things like confidence or trust or things like this that I want to bring in. So when I feel like I'm experiencing doubt or fear, I've come up with one or two words that I'm going to incorporate in. And then, does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So for me, that is what I'm doing for 2017 is I've come up with, from this quiet place, these couple different words that I'm going to really practice throughout this whole year. And just throughout the day, I keep saying them to myself. And again, when I feel fear or something, then I'm going to incorporate that.
And I think it's important that no one takes on other people's ideas for, what their new year needs to be like. But at the same time, I'm curious if you want to share what those words are. I would love to hear them.
Yeah. And I've actually kept them kind of private to myself, but I will say the one word that I've been contemplating on for the last week, and it just came to me in my quiet space, was being brave. And for me, I've had to use that word to be brave to get where I am, having a podcast and practice and all those things. But I know that I oftentimes feel inhibited or blocked, or I'm afraid to move forward. And I think that if I was more brave, that I could still push forward in my life a little bit more than I am right now. So for me, I don't know why, but that word really resonated with me. And like it resonated throughout my whole body. I could feel it head to toe. And I said, that's something that I want more of for 2017. So I've used it throughout the day, like every day for the past few days, not just starting today, but I'm really, for 2017, I'm just going to keep using that word over and over and over again. And I can feel it changing me already. It's kind of strange.
In what ways?
Things that had scared me before, like there was a couple different groups that I was thinking about joining, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know anybody, and I don't think I want to do that. And a lot of times, again, my fear would get in the way, or I don't know that I want to put myself out there in that way, whether it be professionally or in my personal life. And now I'm hearing the word like, no, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to do it. So when I feel scared, I'm just going to use that word brave, and I'm going to incorporate it in, and I'm going to close my eyes and do it anyway. And what's that book? Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's how I'm living, and I'm going to be brave. And the other word that came up for me today is trust. Like really trusting that whatever happens, there is really a reason to trust, even if it may not look like it's a positive thing. It may look negative in the moment, but to trust that there's something bigger than me that's guiding this whole process. So,
and a lot of people define that that word as faith.
Yeah.
So that something is going to turn out good. A lot of people feel like that's faith in the outcome, that there's something higher.
Yes. Yeah. And I know this for myself and just other people in my life, whether it be clients or in my personal life. But I know that when something looks bad, and it's hard to find gifts when we're in the middle of like someone breaking into our house, like we're looking at what happened with you. In the middle of it all, it's so hard to sit and go, I wonder what the gifts are. It's like, that's not the time. But when we can even trust in something as extreme as that, or an illness, or something that the brain or the ego interprets as quote unquote being bad, that's the hardest time to pull trust in, or faith that there is something greater or bigger than us that's guiding this whole darn thing.
You know what's weird is that I think as I've gotten older, and I've told people this before, there's no guru chair. I'm not up here saying, well, I've done all this work. It's not like that.
Right.
However, I've noticed that, through years of doing a lot of work on myself and getting to know myself better, my transition time is a lot shorter.
Yes.
So yes, I walked in, I noticed we'd been broken into, and there was about a 24-hour period of some trauma and grief. And at the same time, and this doesn't make this good or bad, I noticed that within the first couple hours, there was something to be grateful for.
Wow.
Within the first night, there was something else to be grateful for. Wow. And also in the loss of those things, there was something interesting, which was a sense of release of the idea that they could be taken, because they had already been taken. And when I'm talking about, things versus someone getting, hurt. I mean, obviously there's an instant gratitude that thank God my child wasn't there, or that I wasn't home, but there was something else, which is the observer mind was aware that, I've had a really big attachment to these memories, because what was taken essentially was pictures and videos of my family and, my kid, and from the past few years. So all of the tangible items, the electronics were also taken. Yeah. But I think what really hit me was my attachment to these symbols, these memories. And what I was grateful for was that I still had the source of them. Wow. That I had my health, I had my child, I had my partner, my friends. I mean, everything was still there that meant anything. And that happened in the moments following. And at the same time, my body had to feel what it had to feel, which was this like intense grief over the loss of those things.
So you were feeling both at the same time.
Yeah. Whereas maybe before I would have felt a lot of, and we've talked about the Enneagram a lot, as a 2, as a heart type, I have a fair amount of victim mentality. And so it was really interesting that, my third chakra, my personal power, felt very victimized. Yeah. But at the same time, I was aware that I was creating a feeling of being victimized as well, on top of that. And the next day, amazing things happened where people responded and I wrote a post to let people know that I was broken into. I think it's it was a community thing, but also to try to get my stuff back. Yes. And the responses were 99.9% overwhelmingly supportive and loving. There was a couple that were like, you need to arm yourself, and that kind of created another environment. But 99.9% of it, just I felt more connected to people. Wow. I felt supported. I hesitate to say that I'm grateful that it happened, but I am in a way grateful that it happened, because it was like those tests and those trials that you get in life, Wow. And so that's going to be a gift going into this new year, is that, I have literally new things and a new fresh start at a lot of things, and a new attitude of connection and gratitude. So wow. That was an aside. I didn't mean to go on.
No, that is, I think, what we're all striving for, because we look at things that are, again, quote unquote negative as being, and then we typically fall in that victim chair and we can't get out. But wow, I'm blown away that in such a short amount of time, because it was how many weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
It was the 16th.
Yeah. So you're already in this place of
Well, I think, and this might have, been a little disheartening to the news reporter that showed up at the house to interview me, because she was like, and I had some kids' things that I thought were taken, presents.
Mm-hmm.
I found them 24 hours later under my bed.
Oh, wow.
And so people had really responded to that idea that these 3 or 4 presents were taken.
Yeah.
And really wanted to be there for me to support that. And that was beautiful and awesome. And within like 3 hours, they were all pretty much replaced. Okay. So I was telling people it's okay. And then I found them. Can you imagine that embarrassment of like, oops, so there's the presents, because they went through the closet where I had hid them previously. And so I thought they'd just been taken.
Oh my
And in
gosh.
the chaos of the place.
Yeah.
But anyway, when the news reporter came over, she was really wanting to focus on the tree and my daughter's handwritten ornament and the idea that the presents, and I was like, well, no, the presents were actually, I found them later. And I was trying to focus on, the fact that I met all these new neighbors that came to me. Wow. And these people that wanted to like help and show support for me. And I was trying to really focus on that. And you could see, unfortunately, she was sort of crestfallen. Like she wanted the drama or the negative. Yeah, she wanted the victim. And I think because partially, and this is partially a good thing, I think that people want to be able to help because there's so many things happening we can do nothing about that they want to be able to say, I want to help. Right. And then as a 2, what's difficult for me is allowing them. And that's the other half of the equation is when you want to have love, you have to accept it.
Right.
And so sometimes it's allowing someone to give you something even if you don't feel like you deserve it. So that was a really good lesson for me. And it was a beautiful connection that I made to some friends and people that I didn't know. And
wow.
So, anyway,
powerful.
Yeah, it was powerful. So bringing in the new year, one thing that I wanted to talk about in this episode was the idea of, New Year's resolutions. We all start thinking of them in December. And I think we go into this spiral of how many bad things can I ingest and do before the new year so I can start fresh? Mm-hmm. So I think getting away from that mentality and getting into the idea of supporting ourselves throughout the entire year and through each experience is important. So you've talked about what you want to bring into the new year. Let's talk about some of your New Year's resolution fails. Have you ever had any of those where you...
Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah. Because, I know I have. I've been like, okay, I'm going to start this diet January 1st.
Yeah.
And by January 8th, I was just like so self-defeated. And
same. Yeah. Definitely the diet thing. And I think we have these grand plans on the 1st, and then they just go down the toilet, like certainly by the end of the month, but usually by the end of the first or second week. Because I think we live in such, almost like we live asleep, we live so unconsciously, and we're in these ruts every day of kind of getting up and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it takes a lot to really change and incorporate the new us. That's why I'm liking this little thing that came to me about just bringing in one word, and you know what? If my word is brave or trust, then if I'm brave enough, then maybe I'll be brave enough to, again, do different things in my career. Or if I'm going to do a diet, I'll be brave enough to maybe not diet, but just brave enough to eat a certain way and hold myself to it and trust that it's going to work out. So it's not about, for me at least, what I've learned, like you were saying with the diets, or I'm going to work out, 5 days a week out of 7 days a week, and that doesn't ever happen, so all of those things. But it's adding in something that's new instead of like taking away. We were talking about that earlier.
It seems more gentle.
Yeah, it's like adding to who we are to see this shift happen versus stripping away. Because the mind or the ego doesn't like that. When it's like a child that gets a ball, take it, and if it's playing with a ball, it's like, I'm taking that ball away. It's like, well, I want that ball. So, it's adding in, what can you add into your life in order to make that change or that shift? I remember talking with Annie Waugh, who's a mutual friend, during her interview I did on NST, and we were talking about how she said that they teach children, this is very obvious, but I hadn't thought about it, they teach children to add before they teach them to subtract, because it's an easier concept for our minds to grasp. So if we add 1 + 1, that makes more sense. And then once we have that concept, then they'll teach the kids to subtract. So why then wouldn't we use that when it comes to self-care? Right. You add in little things before you do what we perceive as denying yourself. Yeah. So at the same time, I think the attitude of taking away things can happen simultaneously as adding, as long as what you're taking away is with the intention
of becoming more authentic and less with the intention of denying yourself of something that you've used for comfort. So the intention is, if let's say you're going to take away smoking and you're going to quit smoking. If you go at it in the new year with the idea that I'm going to quit smoking because it's bad for me, it's a little bit different energy than I'm going to quit smoking because it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel like my truest self.
Right.
It's not being kind to me.
Right.
And loving.
Right.
So if you think about something that's not loving to yourself, that's real self-care.
True.
Right? And so you can do the same thing but with a different intention.
Yeah, and it is. It's how you say it.
It might make it more successful.
And I think too, and I like that how you just said that. If you remember talking about the chairs, when we sit in our adult chair, it's really sitting in that highest version of ourselves. And it's allowing these New Year's intentions to come through that place versus the ego of, oh my God, I want to, like you said, I'm quitting smoking. Versus, this just doesn't, it's not in my highest good to do this. This doesn't feel good for me. It's not healthy for me anymore. So that's why I want to take really good care of myself. So we can say the same thing and it's coming from two different places within us. But again, it's that adding in. So if I'm going to quit smoking, then maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, a daily walk. So I'm going to do some other things, or I'm going to add in, drinking 3 glasses of water a day. So what I find the greatest success with is that when we add something in small increments too, whether it be meditation, and people go, well, I can't meditate, I can't sit down for 20 minutes a day. Well, meditate can you do a minute a day? I created a 1-minute meditation.
Yeah, I found that 1-minute meditation that you did. I actually shared it on my the center Facebook page because
cool.
I loved it because I would pull into a client's. I do mobile massage as well.
Okay.
I would pull into a client's and stop, and that would be my recentering.
Oh, how cool.
So I've used that, yeah.
Yeah, so you're adding in little things like meditations, but doing a 1-minute meditation. That leads to a 2-minute meditation because it just leads to more. So that's how we create change. So you want to lose weight? We'll start with a 20-minute walk once a week because the brain can go, oh, I guess I could do 20 minutes once a week, but I'm not going to do 5 days a week for an hour and a half, right? Because the brain kicks it out. But you add in these little tiny things. Breath work. Okay, so twice a day, before I get out of bed and then before I get into bed, I'm going to do 3 counts of deep breathing. Who can't do that? I mean, it's like then the brain goes, oh yeah, I guess I can do that. So when you add those little things in, it builds and builds and builds and builds. That's how we create change.
So we're talking about the new year, obviously. We're talking about bringing in new things. And I thought it would be fun to do it in alignment with the chakras. So can you first explain, putting you on the spot here, but can you explain the chakra system?
All right. So we have, and for those of you that know chakras, we have hundreds of them, if not more. And we're going to today talk about the 7 main chakras. And these are energy centers that if you are living and breathing, you have chakras coming out of your body. And they're connected to different areas in the body. So we're going to talk about the 7 main chakras. They're literally little spinning wheels of light. They're vortexes of light. So think of little tornadoes that are coming off of the body. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're going to talk about the 7 main chakras. So we have the first chakra that is considered the root chakra, is called the root chakra, and it comes out of the pelvic region of the body. And this chakra has a physical component that feeds anywhere from that pelvic region and down. So hips, legs, knees, feet, ankles, toes, all of the above. So physically, that is what's going on with the first chakra. What it means mentally or emotionally, this is the chakra that represents our tribe, feeling grounded. It's called the root chakra. This is where we will experience financial security and financial stability. This is where money can come in. Manifestation happens in this chakra. We can't manifest if we're not connected into the earth, into this first chakra. This is where we have a sense of tribe, or when we feel connected to our family. This is all first chakra. This chakra develops really from in utero into the first year of life. And what happens is through our development, it starts in utero and each chakra develops as we get older. So we work our way up these chakras. So the first one is in the root area, like I said, that is in the pelvic region of the body. And again, the chakra feeds everything from that area and down. And by the way, the first chakra, the color of that chakra, there's a frequency there. It's an energy center, so that frequency color is red. We move up to right below the belly button, which is the second chakra, the sacral chakra. This chakra moves a little bit faster versus this grounded, earthy root chakra, which the energy there is slower. This starts to move a little bit faster. As we go up the body, the energy moves faster. So we've got the second chakra, which is where our emotions, it's a more fluid chakra. This is where feelings come in. Money can be manifested here. Money issues can manifest in the second chakra or the first chakra. Sexuality is second chakra. And this also, think about where the chakra is, and everything behind that area is where that energy is feeding that physical tissue. So this could be, if you have bowel issues, if you've got intestinal issues, it could certainly be that second chakra, having issues with the second chakra. These chakras, I want you to know, spin. They're beautiful vortexes of light that spin in balance. So when we have an emotional issue or a mental issue related to that chakra, okay, that chakra then spins out of balance, and then the energy can't feed the physical tissue behind it. Does that make sense? So as we move up to the third chakra, that's just about an inch or so right above that belly button. That is our solar plexus, or again, third chakra, and that color is yellow. So everything in this area is related to power, self-esteem, self-image, how we think other people see us. Autonomy. So when you're getting on stage and you have to speak in front of 500 people and you have butterflies in your stomach, the chakra typically has gone out of balance, right? And when that chakra goes out of balance, again, think about what's behind that chakra. We've got stomach, liver, pancreas, all of that is behind that chakra. That's why sometimes when we have to speak, we get the butterflies, and then we might have to feel like we have to go to the bathroom, or we're going to throw up or something. That chakra's then out of balance. Moving up, we then have the fourth chakra, which is, the color is green, and that is in the center of the heart area, right in the center of your chest. It's also called the heart chakra. This is where we give and receive unconditional love. So this is an important one because so many women with breast cancer or heart disease, or men with cancers or lung cancers or heart attacks, things like this. It's a very interesting chakra because, again, where we give and receive love. Think about if you're the type of person that's able to take a compliment. When people say, "Oh, you look so nice today," and so many of us respond with, "Oh yeah, this old thing, I got it at TJ Maxx," or, "Oh, this thing, oh yeah, no, I got, I picked all this stuff up at blah, 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 at a garage sale," whatever. We're not good at receiving. We're better at giving than receiving. That's fourth chakra stuff. So I've worked with people that have had different types of cancers or issues in this heart space. So again, whether it be breast cancer, lung cancer, heart issues. And it typically goes back to this chakra. It's like, well, how did you feel loved growing up? Did you feel loved now? How do you feel about giving love and expressing love? And so many of us have issues there. That's why I think the breast cancer is so high, and other issues in that area. So as we move up, we then go to the throat center, which is the throat chakra, the fifth chakra. And this represents speaking your truth. And this could be any sort of manifestation of what we take, what's on the inside of us, and bring it out into the world. Expression. So if you've got an idea for a business and you're not doing that business, you may have issues with that fifth chakra and what that looks like. So think about the fifth chakra, where it is. It's right in the center of the throat area. This physically could affect shoulders, throat, of course, teeth, mouth, ears, anything like that. So people with like really bad teeth issues, or tons of cavities, or thyroid, anything in this area. People that have hearing issues, typically it's related to this fifth chakra. Like, what do you not want to hear? What are you not expressing? Again, this expression could come in the form of poetry, dancing, writing, doing a business,
speaking
singing,
speaking
your truth. It's a center of boundaries. Are you speaking up for yourself? Are you setting boundaries for yourself? Or are you not? Are you holding back?
And the color of that is blue. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Blue. If you remember from, I don't know how old you are, but if you remember from, I remember science, like grammar school, remember learning Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow? That's the chakra colors. So it starts in the base chakra, the first chakra, with red, and you go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo. Then we move up to the sixth chakra, and then violets on top. But the sixth chakra then is right in the middle of the forehead, right above where the eyebrows would be. And this is also known as the third eye. We are seeing here universal truth, and we learn about universal truth. So talking about chakras are a universal truth. This is a universal truth. No matter where you are on this planet, people have chakras. So when we're talking about this and people are taking in this information, they're actually taking it in through this third eye chakra. Also here would be visualization, creativity, dreams, intuition. All of it is happening right here in this third eye or the sixth chakra area. This again is indigo. This color is indigo. And again, behind it represents, we've got anything in the brain that's happening. Could be the sixth chakra. But a lot of people with headaches, they're really confused maybe with some religious understandings that their parents had given them growing up or that they learn, and now they're having conflicts with that, or it could be any sort of conflict in the mind that could lead to headaches. Headaches are also linked to the second chakra. So we've got issues with money. Again, second chakra is right below that belly button. So the second chakra is money, sexuality, emotions, all that kind of thing.
Worries or thinking about things.
Thinking, thought, all of that. Again, that could lead to headaches. So when someone comes in with a headache, I'm not only looking at their sixth chakra, I'm going to look at their second chakra too. Okay, last chakra, crown chakra, which is, again, crown right on top of the head is violet. And this is where we connect into the divine, into God, into something greater than ourselves.
Our connection to
higher power, whatever you'd like to call it.
And that color, you said violet or white?
It could be white too, yeah. All right, here we go. So we've got the first chakra. The first chakra is connected to anywhere in that pelvic region and down. So what I notice is when I start like stubbing my toe or tripping or having aches or unusual pains in my legs or feet or anything like that, then I know there's something off in my first chakra. Again, not feeling connected to tribe or money or anything like that could be off, then I know I need to take a look at what's going on in there, and I need to get that first chakra back in balance or get more energy there.
So what are some things that we can do that we can add in? We talked about gently adding in instead of violently taking away. So, I mean, I know that you can use essential oils.
Yeah.
What is one that would be something that would pertain to the first one?
I know that sandalwood, I know there are a few of them, but for the one that comes to my mind immediately is sandalwood, is a really grounding oil.
So smelling it.
Yeah, smelling it.
Diffusing it. Yeah. And then another thing that I know is good for when you're not feeling connected to the earth or connected to tribe or grounded is to something that I've recently learned about. It's called earthing, which is sort of a trendy, like new idea, but it's just really basically taking off your shoes, getting into nature. We don't do that enough anymore.
No. Being in nature is really grounding. And also, I'm jumping ahead, but also opens up all of the chakras, but the heart chakra really loves being out in nature too. But yeah, so grounding, earthing, going out with no shoes on. Yoga is really good for that first chakra, because it's hard to think about other things when you're doing yoga. You have to be in your body. You have to be grounded to be able to do the yoga that you're being instructed to do. So, but there's so many things, but that's, riding your bike, going for a run, going for a walk, just doing things outside, but doing things physically with your body is very, very grounding.
Let's move to the second.
Okay. So the second chakra, is I just want to mention this too. We went through all the colors of the chakras. So if we want to enhance one of those chakras, for example, like this orange chakra, which is the sacral chakra, sexuality, emotions, things like this, wearing that color of the chakra is really beneficial.
Okay.
So if you feel like you're blocking an emotion, let's say, wear some orange.
Okay.
Do a meditation and see your auric field or your energy field surrounded in orange. Breathe in the color of orange. So that's that second chakra. Again, sexuality, emotions. Oftentimes we find that when our emotions are stuck, that second chakra is also out of balance.
And you had talked about that one being pertaining to money and finances. And what I've found to be true as a body worker is that people, when they have tight glute muscles, often it's because of anxiety around control or money.
Yep.
And so the idea of, I don't think I can say it on the air, but tight butt.
Yes. Tight hiney.
That's why. We're constricted or restricted in that way. So another idea of a way to enhance that area is allowing yourself to be sexual in whatever way works for you. So with your partner or alone, to express sexuality and creativity in a way that is unblocking for you.
Yeah. One of the poses I'm thinking of right now, or the postures, is that, I can't remember what it's called. Is it the goddess pose where I remember doing this in bed. So I'm just laying on my back and you have your feet together and your knees are open. Mm-hmm. And I think they call it the butterfly pose, when you take your knees and you're then pulling them together and then kind of going back and forth. That really sends energy into that second chakra.
And then moving up to the third
chakra. That is, again, yellow and power, self-esteem, sense of self. So for that chakra, it's being brave, which is my word, finding our power. But one thing that works great is slapping, tapping or slapping, like you're, beating a drum like this, that third chakra, gently, not like hurting yourself, but just kind of slapping that just to awaken the power center there works great. It works great. Also, standing up and taking your arms out to your sides, extending your arms straight and doing a twist. So again, it's getting energy into that chakra. So twisting back and forth, doing like a hula hoop, things like that, doing belly dancing, that all sends energy into that second chakra.
Oh, you're talking about second or third?
Excuse me, third chakra.
So one thing that I've noticed when I've done body work or Reiki, so that's one other thing that you can add in if you haven't done this before, is getting Reiki or energy balance or chakra balancing, because if you haven't experienced that, it can be a really dramatic change in your body.
Sure.
I usually leave a session that I've had done to me feeling really amazing. So one thing that I've done with clients is I'll actually place a hand on that third chakra, right around the abdomen and the heart, and to do some sort of balancing.
Like connecting, yeah.
Because what we do, we're animals, essentially. We're mammals, we're animals, and we protect that area of our body. And so when you do something like a heart opening or a twist, you're actually exposing this vulnerable, soft underbelly. Yeah. And if you think of like dogs or cats, what do they do when they're scared? They protect. Well, so do we. So when we add that in, when we add in this idea of trusting and being brave and being vulnerable, that can be really changing. And that can open us up in a lot of different ways. So
one thing that I do, and I notice, is that when we're in public places, and no one knows each other, like Starbucks or in some sort of public place like that, you'll see people cross their arms. And it's interesting, what are they protecting? That third chakra.
And the fourth.
But a lot of times people are just like this, and they are wanting to block anyone really from seeing them. And one way to do this is to cross your arms. So I do my best to stand in public and be mindful of, am I crossing my arms? Because oftentimes it's unconscious. So that's putting yourself out there. It's just by not crossing your arms in public.
Yeah. And then
not getting on your cell phone and doing that, like really standing there and exposing yourself is a wonderful thing that we can do.
And then that going hand in hand with an idea of, which we'll come into when we get up to the fifth, but the idea of boundaries. Because when you don't have proper boundaries, asking someone to expose their soft underbelly is a little intimidating.
Absolutely.
So that has to go hand in hand then with some visualization and some ideas of protection and boundaries that's appropriate.
Sure.
So then moving up to the heart.
Fourth chakra is all about, again, giving and receiving love. So doing that twist is actually really good, again, for that chakra. But writing love letters, to yourself, like talking about who you are, writing love letters to your inner child, is so beautiful in helping that fourth chakra open.
I think that's, to me, this is when I was, thinking about this show, that was the one I was focused on the most, because I feel like now, where we are right now, that's the one we need to really collectively open. Yeah. I feel like we've been, closing all of them collectively as a society, but I think that one is the one that right now we need to explode that open.
I agree.
Because we've been hiding behind a lot of like social media and fake connection. Right. And we're all isolated. And we know that's not true. We're all under the illusion of being isolated. And we're actually all connected if we would just open these parts up and realize that, the real connections, the real truths lie in person, one-on-one connection. And I think that's a really important one to focus on right now. So that can be using the ones around it, being brave and being expressive with our love. Yeah. And with our feelings. Yeah. And with our fears. Yeah. So, you said journaling to your child. That's awesome. I'm probably going to try that one myself because I've never done that.
It's really powerful. Yeah. Rose quartz is another crystal that we can use to help open up that fourth chakra. Again, there are so many, but that's just one that comes into my mind right now.
And then the other, you mentioned stones. I know people do crystal healings, and we're just touching on all these little modalities, and that's fine. But for some of the other chakras, I know that some people have worked with different stones that had different colors, like citrine for the third. Yeah. So. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've worked with the citrine on the third. It does open up that third chakra big time. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about fifth.
Fifth chakra is that blue color. This is taking what's on the inside and expressing it out into the world. And it could be, like I said, dance or poetry. So write some poetry if you feel like writing. Write a letter. Writing a letter again to your inner child is another way to express that. So that's fourth and fifth. Another thing that, again, we could talk about this for hours, is mantras. So each chakra has mantras that we can be saying to help open them up and give more energy. So the fifth chakra mantra is hum, so H-A-M. So if you say like hum and do it in your car when you're alone, that's going to give that energy to that fifth chakra and open it up. Powerful stuff. Okay. Really powerful. Okay, moving up.
Yes.
And again, don't forget to wear the color of the chakra. I have clients that have gone in for job interviews and they've worn like blue underwear or a blue suit or a blue jacket. And they're like, I was able to speak up for myself. I'm like, yay. Because they're bringing that blue energy, that fifth chakra energy into that job interview or whoever they have to speak to. If they have to set a boundary, is another way. So, sixth chakra, and that third eye is that indigo, and, visualizations, meditation, all of these things accentuate and help bring energy there.
And this is a good time. I mean, it's the new year and we were kind of like, poking fun a little bit, the idea of New Year's resolutions, but it is a good time to start that right now, not just because it's January, but because of climate, political climate, emotional climate. It's a good time to start that self-care. That's adding something in that I think would be really helpful.
Absolutely.
And if you can find a meditation class near you, there's an app you can download called the Insight app. That's a free app where you're actually meditating with people all over the world. And you log in and you can see how many people are meditating. You can set a timer. You can have there be like a babbling brook behind you. You can have it be just bells. You can have a guided meditation that you choose from. And that's something that you can, like you said, with your 1 minute meditation, you can do that anywhere and drop in at any time.
I love that.
And I think that's a really good practice to start now. Yeah. There's no reason to say, well, I'm going to start this January 3rd. And it's like, no, just do this every day. That should be, you don't want to do the thing where, oh God, I didn't meditate today. I'm a terrible person.
No.
But it's something that it's like adding in more water. It's so kind and gentle to you. So.
Yeah. And just as long as we're on that sixth chakra too, to add to what you said, which I love that app, I'm going to have to check it out, is visualization. So visualizing what you'd like to add into your life. So let's say, like you had brought up earlier, like someone that wants to quit smoking, like what's that going to look like? What's that going to feel like? And see yourself living that life. If you're somebody that does want to get healthier and maybe lose some weight, can you see yourself in that new body? Can you see yourself there? What's that going to feel like?
Yeah.
Sixth chakra. Okay.
I went through a period of needing to lose some weight and get healthier, and I had a picture of a dancer on my refrigerator. And I always told myself the story of, I'm not a dancer. But I started going to Zumba classes and hip-hop dance classes, and I just had this picture of this dancer, and partially because I loved the form of the picture and the body, and that was something I was aspiring to, but also because she was in movement. And I wanted that to remind me of what I wanted to be, of who I wanted to be, of the parts of myself that I wanted to bring out. Not of somebody different, but of the parts of me that made me feel more authentic, which is me in movement, not me sitting on the couch, feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah, I love that.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we're on the sixth, going up to the seventh chakra is the crown chakra. And that's our connection to God, source, universe, higher self, something greater than us. Om, chant Om. Prayer connects us. Again, meditation connects us here. Any sort of visualizing that light going up into the heavens.
Okay. And I came across a Bruce Lee quote about simplification. It says, it's not the daily increase, but the daily decrease. Hack away at the unessential. So that's something I think that would be a lot kinder as we're approaching, 2017, or we're now in 2017, is this idea of adding on, like you said, gentle changes and hacking away at, like he said, at the unessential things that we're taking on that might not even be our true nature.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that. I really think we went in a good direction today with adding on, because if we can just be mindful and wake up and add these little tiny things in, be mindful of chakras, be mindful of, do you have an ache or pain in your knee, and what are you doing about that? And adding in, like you said, like maybe what happens if you just add oils in your life, like you were saying, or adding in these little things, it really does create big change, which is what we're doing when we're setting a New Year's resolution.
You said that you teach a chakra class.
I do.
Okay. Can you tell us how people would find more information on that?
I'm going to be putting one on my website soon. I would just say go to my website, go to michelleshelfont.com or theadultchair.com. Okay. Yeah, there will be one on my website soon.
Okay. And I want to also talk with you about doing another episode like this, because the chakra thing just sort of happened organically, but doing another episode like this specifically on chakras, if you're willing. Sure. And we could even delve into each one and then how they correspond even to the Enneagram or to, different physical patterns of disease. And all right, we're gonna close up now. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we will definitely have you back. And I do want to do the live show with you. I think that would be a lot of fun. I need to use your word this year. I need to be brave.
Yes, and trust.
And trust. Yeah.
What we need are people to. It'd be fun to have people write in some questions even for the next show. If we're going to do a show on chakras, can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do they write in?
If you have any questions on actually anything that we've talked about on this show or any of the shows, you can always write to info@mynashvillecenter.com. And just in the subject, put Holistic Revolution, the name of the radio show, and in whoever you'd like to ask a question to, and we'll have them back and we'll address those questions. So thank you again for being on the show. And please tune in next Friday and every Friday at 1 p.m. Central on 101.5 in Nashville, or through WXNAFM.org on the web, or worldwide through the TuneIn app. We'll be back next week, and thank you so much for tuning in. Happy New Year.